All right. As always, please use your raise hand function if you have any questions. We have about 20 minutes and we'll get to as many questions as possible. First up, Chris Bills with Striker, Texas. Go ahead, Chris.
Thanks, Laura. Hi, Josh. Yeah, you guys have another tight stretch of 3 matches coming up. I know some of the more, disappointing results of the season have come during those stretches, and I'm just curious, if you have considered any alternative ways to handle the rotation and things, making sure that guys are fresh, but also maybe going after all 3 in a way that maybe you haven't quite been able to previously due to rosters and health concerns.
Yeah, no, I think scheduling becomes challenging. I think when players, obviously, the depth of our roster has provided challenges, but this series of games and the series of games that we end the season with is scheduling wise, it's a little different. It's Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday, so you do have the time in between each game. That's a little bit better than certainly what we saw in the last series of games where it was again Sunday night, Wednesday, Saturday afternoon. So I expect our guys to be a full complement of players to be available, given that you have enough break in between each of the games to get recovered, and obviously we'll just have to see where guys are physically, but I don't expect to have nearly as much roster rotation.
Yeah, and I'm curious how you what you thought of the U.S. During this World Cup qualifying window, having gone through a similar rotation with 7 guys being rotated midweek, or not midweek, during the weekend in Panama, and maybe if that sparked some discussions with maybe Greg or some other coaches about how best to handle these tight 3-game stretches that are becoming more common with the congested schedule.
Yeah, it's challenging. It's certainly challenging. I'd say for them, they prepared in a way, I think, where they've tested that, what that was going to look like with some of their preparation games leading up. So I think they had, an idea of what it wanted to look like. The goal ultimately is to qualify for the World Cup. So they're on their way doing that. And of course, there's always going to be the criticism of, losing a game and making changes on that middle game. But, you start with a plan. I'm sure they had a plan with what they wanted to do with the players that they had available. And then obviously they have a process by which they operate and how they account for players. And you got to, again, take each game by itself, because you're not sure what's going to happen in the first game. So that also leads to some of the issues for the second game. And you just got to make the best of the situation. And obviously they have I think the national team, you're able to bring in more players because of the 3 games in the window, which is a nice thing. And I think they had some knocks. So they had to make some adjustments. But again, I think they won their 2 games at home, which are the most important ones. And you try to take your points on the road. Very similar mentality that we certainly prescribe to here. And, you just got to take it from there.
Thank you, Coach. Next up, Arch Bell.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Josh, for the time. My question is about Tomas Pochettino. How has he developed over the course of the season, and how has he improved in his adapting to MLS and adapting to Austin FC? What are the signs of growth that you've seen from Tomas this year in his football, from the start of the season until now as we head into the home stretch? What has that process been like, watching you, from your perspective as a coach, and how Tomas has undergone this season?
Yeah, it's challenging for players to come into our league, and obviously the adaptation is different for each person. And again, when I look at a guy like Sebastian Giussi and certainly Cecilio, their ability to come into this situation and adapt has been really seamless. And they also left their country and played abroad and had those experiences already in place. So for Tomas, I think there's the newness to that experience. There's a newness to our league, and I think of late, the last month, 4 or 5 weeks, I'd say it's been his best time here. And again, everybody's different. His qualities, again, I think we've done a good job, over the course of the season, understanding who he is and how he can help this team and how he can ultimately be impactful. He is a mover. He likes to get to certain spots on the field, and we're more of a positional game. So we've also layered that in, and that's where we've changed and evolved a little bit of the way we play, understanding where he likes to go and move to. But again, in the last month, he's played, still playing in the pocket. He's done a much better job of turning in the pocket, staying in the pockets. But he likes to move out to the side. He likes to move low to pick up the ball and be able to orientate forward. I think that's when he's most comfortable. I'd still love for him to arrive in the box more. And we've walked through some of our stuff where he's done that and he's been very effective. And there's times where he just hits the box and he kind of holds right on the edge. And, I continue to encourage him to be impactful, show up in the box, arrive in the box. Things will fall for you, or you'll just be in a good spot to finish opportunities. But on the defensive side, I think he's been extremely good the last couple of games, and he's been eager. He's been more willing in training. He's been taking in information. We've had many more meetings. He's sat next to Alex in a few of the last games, and he's done a really nice job. And I don't think that was really something that he was comfortable with, or we were with him earlier in the season. But by being in our environment, learning the detail behind it, and him taking a little bit more responsibility, a little more ownership of that, has been really good. And I think it's paid off for him. And again, we got 2 really good results at home 2 weeks ago against LA and against Salt Lake. And he played in that defensive role, but obviously the offensive role that we like for him as well.
Thank you, Josh. Next up, Jorge Turale. Go ahead.
Hi, Josh. Did you talk to Cecilio about his goals on against Real Salt Lake? And I'm talking about his position. Like he looked different, in my opinion, to another games, like more free on the field. Do you have this conversation with him and also with the team about especially Real Salt Lake game?
Yeah, we prepare for each team in a pretty thorough way. Obviously, we had 3 games in that week, so it was difficult to get everything right for that Salt Lake game. But I think we had a pretty good understanding of who they were, knowing Pablo, knowing what their structure was. So right away, we knew there were going to be opportunities for us to exploit them. And those things became very clear as the game went off. And we took a quick advantage of offensive transition, getting at them on the weak side, getting off of one side to the other side. And again, Cecilio's positional discipline to stay wide, to be an option, not coming into the middle too early, because, he's extremely good with the ball at his feet, and he's very good 1v1 getting by guys. And that was on display, certainly in the second half. And then again, like in a good position as we progress on the right side, that he can arrive in the box and his willingness to get in the box. And again, I think he did that well on both of his goals. And he had opportunities for other goals as well. And I wouldn't say it was Cecilio's best day, but he found ways to be impactful. That was without the ball as well as with the ball. And that's what's really, really satisfying and gratifying as a coach and as a team, because he's finding, who he is. And certainly we're finding him in his better moments. He's playing out wide in his true position, and having Musa has really helped, I think, Cecilio be more defined in what his role and how his impactfulness is going to be felt in our team. And then also Diego Fagundes and the connections with Sebastian Giussi and Tomas to bring the game to individuals around the field to where they can make an impact. And that's a great sign. And it starts with the way that we build up. And, it was challenging. So Salt Lake Real is very much similar to these San Jose's, where there is a man orientation. They are 1-for-1 at the back. So it takes a little bit of wiggling to get free and find your options in advance of the ball. But getting the first goal obviously helped. And then we really could have punished them even more in some of our opportunities. But I was pleased with how we understood what the game was going to look like. And then ultimately how we created chances. Just would have liked more goals. And Cecilio got rewarded again, I think, for, again, being aware of what his position was and his timing and willingness to arrive in the box.
One more question. Well, obviously, it wasn't a special celebration with the team for his 2 goals.
Yeah, I think the guys enjoy scoring goals. I think they enjoy celebrating, and I think Cecilio is extremely aware of how the goals come, and that he's an end product to something that happened before. Again, Sebastian Giussi was all over these goals, as he was with many of our better opportunities. I mean, there's a real clear indication of what his quality is as a soccer player, as a human being, as a leader on this team. The balls he's playing behind lines to guys, the quality and the security that he provides in between lines and in difficult positions, and his willingness to work. So again, I think the celebration is a reflection of the collective, and we preach that constantly here. And the run from Diego was fantastic. The ball from Sebastian over the top was fantastic. And again, that's the second goal. And we had a third, a fourth, and a fifth that could have happened in those manners as well. And the first one, again, Sebastian arrives in the box. He's fantastic at arriving in the box. His technique in and around goal is tremendous. He absolutely smoked the ball in the second half that he just missed off of a corner, off of a second phase corner. But I think again, the celebrations is who this team is. There's a lot of life and energy in those guys, and when you score a goal, it's good to see them all come together.
Okay, and the last question. I want to talk about the rumor about Kevin Arriaga, but just going a little bit, the celebration of the second goal against Real Salt Lake, your celebration. I never saw that before on the
mine. Yeah, I'm always celebrating like that. You guys just don't
not like that.
I'm always jumping around. Goals are goals. I get excited too. There's fans over there. I try to jazz it up with the fans as much as I can. I get excited just like the guys. I like to think I'm kid-like, but it's energy. I love the energy that our group has, the fans have. Again, I'm not saying this because I'm the coach of Austin FC. The energy in that stadium and the electricity in that stadium it's not normal around the league. And I've been in this league for a long time, and it's exciting to be part of. And we want to provide that every single time we're out there. Scoring goals helps with that. Winning games helps with that. So to share those moments with the fans, with our players, I'll jump around all the time. We keep scoring goals and winning. You'll see me bouncing around the sideline quite a bit.
Okay. The last question. What I was going to say, there is a rumor of Kevin Arriaga, the player from Honduras. It was approached from you guys, or he's trying to offer, the agent is trying to offer him to the team. Do you know anything about it? It's already in plans for the next season?
I think most of those take place with Claudio, and right now, obviously, we'll start planning for next. We already are planning for next year. Certainly, some of the options that we need to find and seek, but I don't know anything about that situation, so I can't really comment on it. But we're definitely looking to make additions. There's no doubt about it, from within our league as well as out of our league, and those things will be ongoing all through the rest of this season, the off season, and all the way through the beginning of next year. But we got to get better, and we feel like we have a good base. There's certainly some good ingredients in this team, and we're gonna obviously look to make some additions along the way.
Thank you,
George.
and
Thank you, Laura.
Of course. Looks like we have time for 2 more questions. Next up, Cam Kubik. Go ahead.
Thanks, Laura. Hey, Josh. Just one from me. When we talk about the mid-season additions, I think, and rightfully so, a lot of the shine has gone to what Driussi and Gite have brought to the team so far. But I wanted to ask about Mackenzie Gaines and just what you think he brings to the team specifically, and what he can bring in the final 6-game home stretch. We obviously saw a good showing from him against the Galaxy, and then he had some bright moments against the Rapids as well.
Yeah, I think what you've seen in those games is exactly what he brings. And within about 8 minutes of being in this training center, we also got to see exactly what he was about. He has a very quick release in front of goal. He gets space really well. He makes space individually in 1v1s, and he can score goals. So, I mean, that was, again, that took us a few minutes to really realize that. And given what we were like in the summer, we didn't have a striker for much of the year. So that was exciting to see. And obviously we were able to sign him, and he hadn't played in a long time. So we had to get fit, and he took a little bit of I think he had an injury with his groin. So he was out for a few weeks. But these games, you've seen a life and energy, certainly a verticality, a speed that is, it's not common. I mean, he's, if I think of the chance he created at the end of the Salt Lake game where he takes the ball, we certainly win the ball right there at the top of our own box. And I don't know if you guys get to see it on wide angle, but the distance he covered and the separation he created from the rest of the field was unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And it would have been nice as he got on the end of that for him to score it or slip it in front. But I think that's where he's going to continue to evolve. His verticality and speed are fantastic. We've worked a lot on his positioning and his timing in and around the penalty box, and he's receptive, he's open. And that's what you like about young players. And he's hungry, and he's honest. And those are things that are great to work with as a coach. Our staff sees potential, and he's obviously been, well received by the group. And when he does play, he shows a willingness and an eagerness and an ability to make an impact. Again, against Colorado, he was constantly behind the line. Penalty, red card, absolutely should have been. And that, it's speed is something that is very difficult to deal with. And add in timing, add in, soccer acumen that you can help develop. He's got a lot of potential, and we look forward to continuing to work with him. And, he's going to be a starter in some games. He's going to be a reserve in some games. But, what we always talk about is how are you going to make an impact? What are you bringing to the table each and every day that's going to keep you in the lineup and separate you from other guys?
Got it. And then while we've been on this call, Mackenzie just put out a first person piece that he wrote on basically on the connection he feels as being the first native Austinite to represent the club as his coach and a mentor for him. Is that something that you notice in training, in games, that he feels that special connection?
Absolutely. He is such a respectful, responsible human being. I've read the article. It's indicative of who he is as a person and a human being. And we're also here to develop human beings. And we want to make the human being a very good soccer player, but he's a humble, hungry kid. He's very respectful. He's had actions out on the field that he immediately goes to apologize because he feels like, he's in a moment of conflict, he says something or he acts in a way. And I'm like, but that's part of this. You're fine. You bring that energy, bring that little bit of bite. That's nice. But, he's a sweet person, and he's extremely proud to be from Austin. He's extremely proud to represent this club. And, I've been able to spend time with him. We talk about these things, and he's a great kid. And again, this article, I have it right in front of me, but really is fulfilling in a lot of ways. It talks about who he is and where he's come from, the experiences he's had along the way that shaped him to today. And like I mentioned, I mean, the atmosphere, the energy, and being in Q2 in this stadium, for me, being a new to Texas and certainly moving to Austin is tremendous. I can only begin to imagine what it's like for him to grow up here and now come through the ranks in Austin and be able to play professional soccer as the first Austinite. It's a great accomplishment. And like you said, he won't be the last one. He won't be the last one. And that's where our academy is going to come through. And certainly our ability to recruit players from outside our region is going to be critical. But I think it's a great story. He's a great person, and he deserves so much credit for what he's gotten to this point. But we want to make him better, and we want to continue his growth and help him develop.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Coach.
You bet.
Thanks, Coach. What a great question, Cam. That concludes today's media availability session.